Welcome to Lose It, Weight Loss and Nutrition. My name is Michelle, and I am a certified nutrition, weight loss, and diabetes prevention health coach. Today I'd like to talk to you about emotional eating. Emotional eating means different things to a lot of people. First off, I want to be taken as what you should be doing. I just want to share my journey and my experience with you in hopes that it could help support you and know that you're not alone in that we share common traits. So how do we get that way? How do we become emotional eaters? I've done a lot of thinking on this and a lot of research. And I realized that, when we're born, we don't come with manuals. And we always like to blame our parents. But food, for me, was used as a reward system. And so it kind of stayed that way as I turned into an adult and onward. So see if this kind of sounds familiar to you and you can relate to this. In the past, if I would be told, if you're really good, we will go for ice cream after we're done. If you're really good, you'll have a cookie. It was a reward, and so of course you wanted to earn that cookie. It also was a soother for me, so if I was running fever and I didn't feel good, ice cream would make it better, and food was used to soothe me as a child. So of course, as I grew up and became an adult, I was using food as a reward system and as a soother. Now, I believe that we all have these tendencies of self-medicating and self-soothing. For some people, it may be exercise. For others, it may be alcohol or drugs. But we all kind of have these tendencies. So know that you're not alone. It's part of our human makeup, as you will. I was also taught to please others. Don't rock the boat, don't confront, don't advocate for myself, please others, take care of others, and putting myself last. And that I still do at times, and I grew up that way. I mean, it was taking care of my children. My children came first. My husband came first. Friends, family came first. And that was just my upbringing. And it even stemmed into my workplace, where it was please the employer and pretty much do whatever they asked me to do. And I would not ask for raises or pat myself on the back, because that was, unacceptable. It was thought of as being full of yourself and kind of awkward. So I didn't learn how to advocate for myself and to ask for things that I needed, both in my personal life and in my work. My emotional eating has not stopped. I think that's a lifelong thing for me. So I just try to find ways to cope. For me, emotional eating means if I worked really hard in a day and it's a reward system, and I deserve a treat. If I'm sad, if I'm depressed, overly emotional, keeping things in, I should have said, I should have done situations, I will want to eat. And it's a comfort for me, especially the carbohydrates. Let me look at my notes here. Self-care was not a thing, you know. It was due for others. I mean, I didn't even know what self-care was until probably the last 5 years. And I really thought that self-care was selfish because that's kind of the way that I was raised. And losing weight, for me, I've lost 126 pounds. It was losing my protection. It was losing my best friend. And it's like an onion. You're in the middle of an onion, and as you lose the pounds, you're losing, you know, the petals, the outside layers of that onion. And when you lose that coping mechanism, it causes so many emotions because it's foreign. It's foreign on, well, what do I do now? How do I cope with this? How do I deal with this stress where I used to go to food? It was very challenging for me. And one way does not work for everybody. So, first of all, I needed to figure out what I was feeling. And I never did that before. I mean, if I was having a bad day at work, I would go through the drive-thru, get some French fries during lunch and a milkshake, and go park somewhere and just cry and eat my food. And then I'd go back with a smile on my face and start again. So I didn't have any idea how to deal with these emotions, and I felt very vulnerable. I felt like I lost my best friend. I felt like I lost my favorite blanket, just like a baby would be. And that's really hard to accept because, you know, we're not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to say, I'm fine. You know, everything was always, I'm fine, because we did not speak up for ourselves and share. Because again, it makes you vulnerable. Matter of fact, making these videos is very difficult for me because I'm not perfect. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. And I'm very careful in that I don't want people to think that this is the only way. And making these videos also puts me out there to the public, which makes me vulnerable to them because I want everyone to like me and I want everyone to be part of my groups and I want to help everybody. But as you know, not everybody responds positively or in the same way, and that's a vulnerable feeling. So that's why I don't make a whole lot of videos. I don't just turn it on when, you know, throughout the day and talk to you, because I want to make sure that what I'm putting out there is important to you, that you can relate to, is helpful and is supportive of you. And I hope that you find my videos to do that. So let's talk about, the first thing you have to do is identify your feelings. That's what I had to do. What emotions did I feel that I wanted to eat? And it's funny because it was a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions. Anything that I could not control, I felt like I needed to go to food. Any situations where my feelings were hurt, I did not speak up for myself and I would turn to food. I let people talk to me in a negative way, and I would just eat my feelings instead of discussing and talking it out, mainly because I didn't know how. So when you sit down and you identify your emotions that cause you to eat, it's going to help you not only identify, but you can do something about each feeling and each situation, and it'll help you come up with a plan for these situations. So let me give you an example. Family issues. When family issues arise, I want to fix it. I want to help out. I want to give my money. I want to make it all better, especially when it comes to my children and my grandchildren. And that one was very tough for me because in helping them, I kind of have this feeling that they should do better or take my advice, and that I had to give my advice. And I realized after a lot of mistakes and some research and self-evaluation that a lot of these situations was not mine to fix. It was theirs. And I take it on, and nobody asked me to take it on. Sometimes our family and friends, they just want to vent. They need someone to bounce off of. They need some support, but they don't need you to fix it. And we need to realize that it's not our problem to fix, and be supportive and say, how are you going to deal with this? What are your options in dealing with this? That sounds like a really good plan. Is there anybody else that you can reach out to? So you want to help them and be supportive, but not take on their burden, not take on their worry, and not try to fix everything. That was really huge for me. When I started letting go of other people's problems, it's such a great feeling. It's all that weight taken off of you. This is very challenging because I am a warrior, and I do worry about my family and my friends. And it's hard to do. It's hard to draw those boundaries. It's hard to say no. So instead of just saying no, maybe we could say, I'm sorry, I have plans that day. I have appointments. I wish I could help. But the other part is we don't have to give detailed reasons. We don't have to give a reason why we are not able to help financially or emotionally or by doing for others. Because just like in an airplane, you put your oxygen mask on first so that you can help others. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to make sure that we're meeting our needs and finding the support, the education, the therapy that we need to be successful, so that we can be happy, lose the weight, and be supportive, and having really good relationships both in the personal and the work environment. I think that the emotion of loneliness has been a challenge for a lot of people. I know it has for me. With the pandemic and the quarantine and a lot of people working from home, we lost our social interactions, and that is very, very challenging. And for some people that are getting back into the social situations, they may find that they are still lonely because, again, putting yourself out there makes you more vulnerable. So I started reaching out more. I started this channel. I started a Facebook group. In getting that social interaction and that bonding, that sense of relating to people that have the same or similar situations that I'm going through. It was kind of my social reach out, which did help me with the loneliness. Isn't it funny that you can be surrounded by people and still be lonely? And it's okay to admit that and to think about, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling lonely? and do some soul searching, because if you don't find the cause, then you can't find the tools and the resources to be able to help yourself. Another emotion that comes up that's been a big one for me is depression. And depression does not mean that you're sad all the time. Doesn't mean that you're grumpy all the time. You can have a smile on your face and everyone thinks you're the most positive person in the world and still be depressed. Depression has a lot of different meanings. It's also a very broad term. Depression kind of comes in waves. It goes up and down. Sometimes I feel wonderful, and other times I do feel a little down, or I feel a little sad, or I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit in my chair, or maybe just scroll through social media. I kind of shut down a little bit. Sometimes that's a good thing because it's how we recharge. I did notice with weight loss that I had bouts of depression because I was, in my mind, I lost my best friend. My best friend was food. And now what am I going to do? Now how am I going to cope? And I didn't want to reach out to others because it made me feel vulnerable. And that was a hard one to relate to. Also, when you lose weight, it does, your body changes hormone levels. And those changes in the hormone levels can also exacerbate some depression. And if I would have known that at the time, I think I would have dealt better with it, because I could know that it was normal, that a lot of people experience that. My go-to was carbohydrates when I overate, and carbohydrates release dopamine, and it's a good, feel-good feeling, especially sugar. So it was my drug of choice, is what I tell my doctor. But it's the same as using alcohol or using drugs. It's your escape mechanism, and it makes you feel better, and it makes you sleepy, and it helped me sleep, and it was a way that I treated myself. One of the other issues that I had was boredom eating. I wasn't hungry, just wanted something to do. Chewing. Some people will crave salty snacks or crunchy snacks, or a lot of something because they want the act of eating, which is soothing to them. And that is very difficult, in that over the years of being overweight and having these food-related issues, I could no longer differentiate hunger, because I, in my mind, was always hungry. I could always eat. There was no full. There was no I'm done. I could constantly eat, and I'm still that way. So the boredom eating, I have good days and I have bad days. And so, you know, we've been told and taught that distract yourself, but that can be really challenging when your hunger clock is broken. And that's kind of what mine is. And so what I needed to do was I eat by the clock. That helps me because I know that it's true hunger, or I will set goals. I'm going to wait, until 11 o'clock to have something to eat, because that's what my body needs. It's not what my mind needs. And that helps me. So I do eat by the clock. The other thing that helps me is that sometimes I can't differentiate hunger from emotions. And so what I will do, especially if I've eaten within the last 2 or 3 hours, is I will give myself 15 minutes to 30 minutes to wait. And after that 15 or 30 minutes, then I will reevaluate how I'm feeling. And if I still feel hungry, then I'll let myself eat. But I need to eat what my body needs and not what my emotion needs. So you got to be prepared. And I have to have my vegetables all cut up, my fruit available, my dips available, my hummus available. I need those better choices packaged and available to me when I'm feeling the most vulnerable. So if I am going to have a snack, I have something quick to go to. I have that chewing. I'm not making poor food choices because I was prepared. I wasn't just dealing in the moment. I don't do well when I deal in the moments. I had posted recently that I stopped pre-tracking last week. I like to get up in the morning, have my coffee, and kind of pre-track for the day ahead as far as my foods. Well, I had a little bit more flexibility in my schedule, and so I thought, well, I'm just gonna see how I feel and kind of log as I go, track as I go. Well, that did not go well because I'm taking each meal and snack as it comes, how I'm feeling, and what I want to eat. So I lose that giving my body what it needs mentality. Whereas when I pre-track in the morning, I can see what I'm going to eat and the nutritional values, and am I too low in protein for that day? Okay, I want to switch some things up. Now, the other thing that's really important is even with pre-tracking, I don't have to stick to that pre-track. Let's say I want to have a different snack. That's absolutely fine. But it gives me an idea of what other kind of snack to choose. In other words, if in that snack I need to have the protein and the veggies first, then I can change that protein and I can change those vegetables at that time. So I can interchange that. So, and then I update my tracker. That's really important for me to be successful. I cannot allow myself too much freedom because I'm an emotional eater and I eat by how I feel. And most of the time that's going to be the carbs. So I find that I was very low in my protein intake last week, and I did not feel my best and I felt extra tired. And that happens to me when I don't get enough protein and too much carbohydrates. So something to think about because that information may be helpful to you as well. When sometimes our control over what we're going to eat and our emotions is not always in our hands. It's not, sometimes things will trigger those emotions, like social events, going to restaurants, work events. And there's usually food at these events or large menus. And it's very challenging to react and do the best that we can in those type of situations, because for me, social situations brings anxiety, and when there's food there, that helps me deal with my anxiety. And so if I'm not prepared, then I will usually go way off track, and it's not eating and socialized eating and being comfortable, it's being uncomfortable and the anxiety of socializing that causes me to need that chewing, that eating mechanism to soothe myself. So now when I have, when I'm going to a restaurant, I will look at the menu and I do pick what kind of food so that I take that off the plate, especially if we're going out to dinner with others. And for social gatherings, barbecues, neighborhood picnics, and work events, I try to always have my snacks and whatever I'm going to drink in my own cooler, and I take that to these social events so that I am prepared in dealing with that anxiety with what I need to get through. And I find that being prepared, it empowers me. I feel like I am in control of my emotions, and it makes me feel that I'm in control of my eating and that I'm proud of myself for preparing for that situation and preparing a healthy alternative in those situations. So after I identified what emotions was causing me the biggest trouble, I tried to find solutions that would work for me in dealing with those situations. So what I did was I created a quiet place for myself. And I set up a spot in my room, and it's my quiet place, and I have everything that I need to soothe myself in that corner. What does that mean to me? So to self-soothe myself, I try to involve all of the body senses. So vision, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. The more senses that we use, the better I feel that it works for me. Sometimes I just need to go to my quiet place and close my eyes and take some deep breaths and just rest for a little bit. And that's all I need. Sometimes the anxiety is really bad, or I'm feeling very low and I need more. So this is what I set up for myself. For the vision part, I will look at photos and of good memories, and that helps me a lot. It watch an old television show that I used to watch as a child that I really enjoyed is another thing that I like to do, and it just kind of brings those feel-good emotions to me. I'd also, when it comes to touch is really important. I will, rub my neck, rub my shoulders, give myself a foot rub, the lower extremities, foot rub. That touch is very, very important, and it's very soothing. For the smell, I incorporate my favorite body butters. And so when I do rubbing and massaging and that touch, I incorporate my favorite smelling body butters. And that not only feels so good, but the scent kind of takes me back to memories or places that I've been. I'll give you an example. Tropical smells, coconut and mango, papaya, all of those. It reminds me of our trips to Hawaii, and I remember the smells that were there, the ocean smells, and it brings back a lot of fun and good memories for me. As far as taste goes, I have some sugar-free candy, and I stick with the sugar-free hard candy. And I kind of just will suck on that, or sugar-free gum, and that helps. Now, depending on what I need is what I will do. I don't need to do all of it. Sometimes I just need to do one. But there are times where I will do more. So if I try something and I'm not quite as calm and relaxed as I like to be, then I will incorporate something else. Also, when you're dealing with the senses, the more senses you use, the more soothing it is for me. So if I can do my body rub or a foot rub with my favorite body butter, listening to some music that I enjoy, then I'm incorporating more of those senses and I have a better outcome. The other thing, and this may seem a little silly to some as far as touch, is I need something soft. Having something soft makes me feel secure, kind of like a child. You are soothing your inner child. And so I have a throw that is very, very soft. And I actually went out and hunted and shopped for the perfect throw. There, you could do baby blankets, something that you find soothing. And I know when I sit with that, it really does help. And I do think that we try to push down our inner child and our feelings and our need for soothing, but embracing that and taking care of that inner child really does help me deal with my emotions in a positive way. So let me get here. Learn to set boundaries. Learning to set boundaries and saying no, we talked about a little bit, but I want to talk about advocating for ourselves. And a lot of times when we want to defend ourselves, we think it has to be confrontational. I hate confrontation. I don't deal well with confrontation. I will usually just back away and eat my feelings and do whatever that person is asking for, or repeat what happened and kind of blame myself at what they say I am and I am doing and what they want me to do. I no longer allow people to yell at me. If I feel that they are being too aggressive in their tone, I'm okay with stop. You need to stop, and you need to change your tone, and you need to change the words that you're using for this conversation to continue. Sometimes I will just back off because maybe the moment is very, very heated, but I don't leave it at that, because if I leave it at that, I'm going to eat those emotions. So once things calm down, it may be even the next day or 2 days, I'm going to go to that person, set up a meeting, or say, I'd like to talk to you, and advocate for myself. This allows 2 things to happen. Have you ever been in a situation where the person was very aggressive, maybe mean, saying awful things to you, and you think afterwards, man, I wish I would have said this. That would have been a really good thing to say. Well, that's what this situation does. So when you back away, it gives you time to think, and it gives you time to prepare, because a lot of times when this happens, it's out of the blue. We have no preparation. We don't even see it coming. But it's really important that you think about the situation, how you're going to handle it, and revisit it. I know it's uncomfortable, but you need to do this for yourself, because a lot of times it's misinterpreted or a misunderstanding, or that person needs to realize that they can't talk to you that way, and that aggression is not going to be tolerated. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to get defensive. If that starts to escalate that way, again, I will back away, and I may need to go to the next level. They may need to get a third party involved, but I feel that when we have the confidence in our job or the confidence in our knowledge, we can advocate so much better for yourself. So I always try to do my research, look at my resources, and prepare myself to have these conversations. That has been so helpful to me, especially in my career, because I was taught that if I work really hard and I'm always there and I'm always available, that I will get noticed and I will get those promotions and they will offer me more pay. Well, guess what? That did not happen. And we need to ask for what we feel that we deserve and be prepared when you do ask. When you have those conversations, make sure you have the why you deserve it. And when you do that and you're prepared, it's very difficult for them to say no. You're not threatening, you're advocating for yourself. You don't need to threaten to leave. You're not going to lose your job because they can't fire you over that. I know that it does happen and that's your fear. But if it does happen, then there are other venues that you can take to help yourself. But sometimes I was not able to resolve these conflicts, and I did need to leave. I needed to find another job. And you know what? That's okay, because it was better. I've also left positions that were not better. But you're not stuck. And that's the important part. I don't want to feel stuck. And it took me a lot of years and a lot of weight loss for me to learn that about myself. And I wish I would have learned it a long time ago. So I hope that you find all this information helpful. I would love for you to ask questions, have comments. I would like to support you. I have resources available. And the last thing that I want to say is, please get some help and get some therapy if you're not able to do these things for yourself. And you need more guidance, you need more skills, you need more tools. I did, and I did get the help that I needed, and now I feel a lot more prepared, which has helped me deal with things as they come and not just withdraw and eat. So please reach out and get the help. I want to let you know that I do have a Facebook group, Lose It, Weight Loss and Nutrition, and I will put that information in the description. Please feel free to join me and others. We share recipes, support, tips, ideas. Gosh, we just share so much, and emotions and support, and I would love for you to be a part of that. I also am on Instagram with the same name. And I also will leave the information below that you can contact me in maybe setting up some one-on-one sessions. If you would like some health coaching, I'd be happy to do that for you. I also offer calculations of calories and macronutrients. And again, I feel that knowledge is power, and I can't tell what I need without having that information, or where my diet is lacking or my nutrition is lacking. So I do think that that's very important. From now until August 31st, 2021, I am offering discounts. I will do the calories and macros for $20, and one-on-one hour sessions is $50, and regularly that's $60. So I just want to help you. Feel free to leave some comments. I would be happy to answer those comments for you and those questions. And I hope that you find good health, and I hope that you found this very helpful. Have a wonderful day.